Hi, everybody. Welcome to the September Builder Town Hall. I cannot believe that. July and August flew by, and while it was nice not to have to have a break from planning a show those 2 months, we missed you terribly, and we are glad to be back with our tribe today. And we know that a lot of our tribe listens to us recorded. The list the folks that get the recording is a pretty sizable list. So if you couldn't be with us today and you're listening in by recording, we promise to try to make every word as useful and as educational as we possibly can. We want to load up your buckets today full of some inspiration, some education, some motivation, that just kind of perfect blend that Builder Town Hall delivers, real-time information you can use to sell more homes, to market more effectively. If we haven't met or we haven't seen each other lately, I'm Meredith Oliver of Meredith Communications. I am the one of the co-hosts of Builder Town Hall, along with Kerry Mulcrone and Angela McKay. And I'm also the president and founder of Meredith Communications. We do digital marketing for builders. We do builder websites, builder search engine optimization, paid search, social media marketing. If it's digital, we do it. We love what we do. We've been doing it 20 years and we wouldn't want to do anything else. So if you need something on those lines, please reach out to us. We would be honored to help you. So, as the host, producer, founder of Builder Town Hall, it's always my just joy to welcome you and also to throw a couple of my own little thoughts. Think of it like my own little short monologue as the opener to the show to kind of give you an idea of what's going on out there. I mainly do this because I want you to know you're not alone. I think as particularly on the marketing side of the business, there's generally one or two of us on staff at best. Those of you with the sales folks, you hopefully have a sales team around you, and it gives you a few more individuals to get a sense of where you are. When you're in marketing or you're the OSC, frequently you can feel like you're on an island and you kind of have to wonder, is it just me? And I'm here to tell you it is not just you. If you've been experiencing slower lead conversions on your website, slower leads, walk in foot traffic to your model homes and sales offices, and if you're definitely experiencing slower sales conversions, it's not you. We can look at every measure from articles that come out in Builder Magazine saying it's the 10th straight month of the most homes uh, listed. There was an article just like that was out too, and I'll share my screen real quick. We don't do a lot of this on Builder Town Hall. Don't worry. This is not a webinar, but I will show you Google Trends, which is another really good way to get a feeling for where are we. The blue line is new homes as a search term across the entire United States. I've got it set where we're looking back at January, and now here we are in August. So the blue line is showing you new homes as the search term. The red is showing you homes for sale near me. So both of these, either one could be new construction, either one could be resale. So we're kind of capturing both. Either way, they're neck and neck. But what you really, I hope that you see is from January till about March, the blue line hovers between the 75 to 100 searches. But as we come down, we get into summer, we get here. Now we're into August, we're below that 75, and we're really hitting between 50 to 75. So we've definitely had a slant like this in the top of the pipeline, the highest part of the funnel. And when we see that as an indicator, it just means that consumers are not moving forward. They're looking, but not at the same pace that they were looking. Now, with really strong digital marketing, you can kind of even out that line to more like this, and you can get high quality, good traffic to the website. But the sales, the OSC to lead conversion, and then the OSC appointment to sale conversion is still really slow. And so I've been thinking, like, what advice could I offer today? Because I know that sales feels like it doesn't have enough traffic to work with in a lot of cases. Uh, and marketing feels like sales isn't working on the leads that are being sent over. We're all kind of pointing fingers and looking at each other. And for marketing, the advice that I can offer you, what we have been doing here in like Sherlock Holmes level dissection, is we have been auditioning every piece of content that is in any digital ad, copy, landing page, any, all pieces of content. This idea originally came to me from a keynote speaker who was actually talking to a group of other speakers at a speaker conference. He's a 30-year veteran Hall of Fame speaker, incredibly well known throughout the corporate speaking world. So when he speaks on how to be a good keynote speaker, we all get our pens ready and we start writing. And he said, I'm getting ready to deliver a keynote that I've had for some time, but I'm not just going to accept, I'm not going to just give it like I've always given it. I know that if I want to keep getting better, what I have to learn to do is audition every piece of content. Even though it's killed, maybe it's killed, I got a standing ovation on it the last 10 times. I still need to look at that piece of content and say, does that still work? Is this still relevant? And I mean, I watched an audience of about 2,000 speakers from all over the globe go, and I feel like if you want to be effective right now, if you want to find that one homebuyer who's not freaked out by the state of the economy, politics, interest rate, terrorism, or unemployment, you are going to have to be your very, very, very best. Your status quo content is not going to cut it. So with Sherlock Holmes determination here at Meredith Communications for every client, and I can't even tell you how many hours this has been taking, we are going through line by line. Does this word really convey the luxury of this townhome? Does this photo really portray the view off of that balcony? We have looked at every scrap from trying to get out of our perspective of, hey, this is good enough, like, great, get it live, get it going fast, 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 to audition every piece of content. And marketers, when you do that, you can confidently say to your manager and to the sales manager, VP, we are on track with our target audience. We have not assumed who that is. We have relooked at it and we have auditioned our initial profile of our target audience member. We thought it was going to be baby boomers sizing down, doing this. It has turned out to be single professional women who are either divorced or single and may have children, may not. Like, we have auditioned every idea and content that we have. We have looked at it and examined it. We have not taken it for granted. And we're here to say, this is solid. We're good. And if you do that, I think that you'll find the customers that you're looking for, because it is harder to find them than it has been, but they do exist. And I'll wrap up my comments and let my panelists come on so we can start our interview with Alex by saying this. I, while I say obviously we've seen a slowdown on that top of the pipeline search traffic, which tells me that everything else is starting to kind of as it starts to kind of slow. I will say this. I do have plenty of clients who have a fantastic piece of land and they're selling homes because it's a piece of land in a location that people want to be, regardless of their economic concerns. I have clients who have a product that is either new and so cool and was missing from the market, they're selling. And most importantly, without magical land or magical product, I have clients whose sales and marketing teams are and OSC are all working together so well to nurture, handhold, and love on every lead that comes in that they are selling regardless of the economic conditions, all the things I listed, maybe with magical land, maybe with magical project product, but maybe not. You know who you are. I'm so proud of you. I have clients that have already met their sales goal for the year. And I think that's going to be a good thing because here's what's going to happen in the United States. We've got every 4 years, this national election. In about another week to 10 days, everyone will freeze from making major economic decisions until the election is over. It doesn't really matter who wins because we're 50-50. So half of us are thrilled, half of us are really not. Is the polite way to say it. Okay, so we even each other out. What matters is if the election is a mess or not. If it's a clean result, was what I'm the result. Do we get a clean result? If we get a clean result, everybody moves on. We will get in the holidays, they will get distracted by that. Come January, we've got a big bump of pent-up demand that you are going to go, wow, this is the best month we've had in a long time. And then your sales, February, March, April, will reflect all of the leads that are going to come in January. If we don't get a clean result and it's a big mess and a big fight and something nasty happens, then that freeze from the election will hold longer until we get some resolution. And then everybody will take a deep breath. And that could push the pent up demand out till, say, February at the earliest. So that's what we're looking at. So, what we really got to do is, as we've got right here, Angela and Kerry, you guys come on in. Alex, come on in. Time to really elevate the buying journey and override all this ridiculous noise with genius because that is what is going to help us. I'm just curious before I introduce Alex, what were your thoughts as I was talking about? You haven't heard me talk about audition your content before. So I was just kind of curious, like, what did that spark for you? Or what do you think of that concept? Am I on to anything?
For sure. Um, as I was listening to you, what I was thinking about, and I think it'll maybe be part of Alex, what you can jump into us is it's not the time to be looking for, like Meredith and I have said, like who done it? Like who was it marketing? Was it sales? Was it that campaign? Was it that photo? It doesn't make any difference who done it. But what really does make a difference is who did it when it worked and what was it when it worked.
Yes,
So
I
if you
like it.
to go back and when you said all that you did, I think that the blame game and name game isn't going to behoove you. The game that is to realize that at some point you were doing something that really, really worked. Find out what that was, who you did it with, and bring that back.
Yeah, Angela, I feel like in marketing, um, I, we, it's easy to get trapped into this who done it or what's broken, what isn't working, and spend a lot of time Sherlock Holming in the negative, trying to figure out what broke instead of what I'm trying to suggest a positive thing of Sherlock Holmes, your content, think forward of, well, how do we do to fix it if it's not selling? It doesn't,
Well,
who
and
done it, who broke it, forget it. But you could spend hours on all of that.
yeah, I mean, you've got to move forward, but also you have to really look at what serves your buyer, not just you.
Yeah.
And I think, often we get caught up, and I'm thinking websites right now and content on websites.
Yes, me
We get
too.
tired of what things look like, but our buyer, we got to remember that our buyer is looking at something for the first time, or the prospects are looking at something for the first time. So, to Meredith's point, you really got to look into your analytics and analyze and go, what is working, what is not, and not just with your gut, but what is that journey of the prospect? And this is also the time where sales and marketing really needs to come together to look at what the journey is, what the time to purchase is, where are your leads, what does that look like from initial interest right through to purchase? How many visits, how many pieces of marketing content do you need to serve to them in order to keep them engaged? So this is the time. And does the sales team have the content they need to nurture those leads? So this is a time more than ever. I mean, you always should be working together cohesively. But this is that time where these leads are valuable, and
Oh,
they aren't knocking down your door. So we've got to really look at what that process is.
Real quick, and
yeah.
then Alex jump in. To your point and to your point, you have to have in place the things that meet them in their moment, that it in their moment, because
Mhm.
there are buyers that it's their moment. And so mass production isn't leaving anybody in their individual moment.
Yeah.
You go,
So
Alex.
So I'm going to bring Alex into the conversation. Builder Town Hall. Let's give a big virtual welcome to Alex Hunter of HighArc. Alex, I originally met somebody from Alex's company at a conference and got to talking and realized they had an office in Durham and where I live. And so then we got to talk about what they do and how they do it. And I have to be honest, we don't really do a lot of associate member product type guests. So Alex, you should feel incredibly lucky.
I do. No, it's great to be here. I can't believe
um,
we're 15, 20 minutes down the street from each other. It's
I
such a
know
small world.
it's kind of crazy. But when he told me about his experience and the content he wanted to share, I said, that makes the audition. So if any of you that ever are wanting to be a guest on Town Hall, I need a lot of guests, so I'm always open, but I don't really just go by who you are. Tell me something cool you want to talk about. And when Alex said, I want to talk about lessons from Apple, they've been a vice president of marketing, I believe, at a whole bunch of tech companies and spent a really good chunk of time at Apple. I was like, well, this is a cool topic. So we're glad you're here. And I think one of the first things we're going to jump into, Carrie, you were talking about meet them at their moment. And one of the things Apple does best is this idea of personalization
Yeah.
the way they do. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at one, two, three, four,
Oh God,
five,
you're deaf.
six. I'm looking at six Apple products
You should
right
You're
figure
this
helping the
out.
second.
stock price. I thank you for that, Meredith.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, welcome, Alex.
Thank you.
Um, Talk to us about personalization versus customization. I think Carrie and you've got questions for him too.
Yeah.
Let it
It's
rip.
a, it it's a fun topic and something that we've been talking both internally and we've seen it at various events and um because I think it's really relevant for builders. Now, I think it's important to differentiate like what's personalization versus customization, right? Because I think it's really easy to mix up those two. And so I think I like to think of them as like a spectrum, right? When I don't know if if anyone's bought a new car lately or maybe a new computer, right? You're not going in and picking out every single component to put that car together. right? That's like truly custom. And for you all, that's a custom home. Personalization is more about, hey, I'm going to take this established entity and I'm going to be able to make it my own and do that very easily. And so I think it's a fun topic because it's highly relevant to the home building space, and we're seeing more and more builders take advantage of this. And so I think that's a good place to start just in terms of
Yeah.
kind of definition, right?
That's a great place, Alex. And I think that one of the things that you're kind of talking about are the times that we've got to remember back, not that far, you guys, where we were selling so much that we had like VIP lists. And I mean, if anybody wants to remember that, and there was no experience because you didn't need to give an experience because you were a number, right? So everything started getting packaged and bundled for ease of the sale.
Hmm.
Like, and if you wanted to add an A to your package, you could for this cost. So now that we are not in that world anymore. Um, Defining personalization, I think, is really valuable. And then Alex talk about it with us is that I kind of put customization over to building the product a little bit and just move it away and then keep personalization into the person, right? Because
Hmm.
customization is about something and personalization is about someone,
Yeah.
if you buy into
Hmm.
that theory. But
Love that.
yeah, doesn't that kind of, and then that
Yeah.
Good way
putting
to think about
people
it.
first.
Yeah.
So go with, so I'm going to do Apple because I just did an Apple thing and then you get to do your thing. So I just sent, everybody knows it was a hard, ugly cry. We sent Ella on to college this year, but Nana and Papa decided that she should go with the best technology. Neither one of us are technology experts. So it's like, let's go to Apple and buy her the best of the iPad, the computer. We had no freaking idea what we were going to spend, number one.
Oh,
But
you didn't.
no, we didn't. Thank goodness for that little nest we had. But I mean, nest is that how they worked us through to like getting to, which is the genius bar, which is really the dummy bar, like what you don't know. The whole thing was personalized. So you're teed up now, Alex.
Yeah. Now, I think it's a really good example, Carrie, of what you talked about with the in-store experience, right? And we were kind of facing a similar crux before we came out with the Apple Watch back in 2015. So, for some background, I was a product manager and worked out in Cupertino on it, both with the original launch and then in 2019, 2020. And so how we brought this to market was always, I mean, that was just living and breathing that every single day. And many of you might own like a Garmin or a Fitbit at the time, a Fossil, right? They optimized for ease of sale, right? These quote smart watches over the years. And I think when I say we at Apple at the time, really use personalization, just simply eat their lunch and differentiate. And so a good example of that is one of these. Some of you may have been in the store lately, and we've got these things. I'll say we as if I'm still there, but just like, for the context of
Yeah.
the story, you can roll with it. We want to do something different. And to your point, Carrie, earlier, right? Like it's really about the person. And so having like this piece of technology that's on your wrist is a super personal device, as is a home. And so how do you deliver a really great experience on that? And so we came out with this thing called Solo Loop Bands, and we built an entire in-store experience around it where you can go in and pick one of 9 sizes. You could pick the color of your case, customize your face, your watch face, pick the material that you wanted. It was really incredible. You'd have, like you said, you had a specialist that would walk you through that step by step, right? And I mean, we sold millions of these bands. These were an added sale, by the way. Think of them as an option, right? You had the
Right.
standard watch at $399. We got people spend an extra $49 on top of that to get this super comfortable
Super
band that was
comfortable.
really meant to fit you. So anyway, it was a really cool thing to be able to work on, but I think that sort of differentiation and using personalization,
Yes.
I mean, look, it helped us stand out. I'm sure there's builders that you all have worked with that are doing are think, thinking about it similar.
Well,
So would you are you saying then that like personalization is what you at Apple did and customization is what the buyer did?
I
Would you
mean,
say?
I view it as more
Hmm.
they're personalizing their product. They're personalizing, so there's a little bit of a
Yeah, no,
verbiage
it's
maybe,
yeah,
but
no.
Mhm.
Yeah. Funny that you just said that because here's what I'm going to throw in to talk about in personalization because I'm kind of a Disney nut. Everybody knows it. I go, well, Kate and I are going to go to Disney this year because he sort of felt like when Ella went to college, then Disney was off the table now. And I thought, oh, buddy. So we're going. So Angela, the personalization, I figured out what package we do. But then the customization came. And you know those little bands that you get
Mhm.
that
oh yeah,
he can
yeah,
push
those
and spend his
magic bands,
own?
right?
Yeah, and he can do this and spend Nana's money without ever even asking Nana. Those are like $49 each. And then you can put a character, that's 10 more dollars. And then you can have a color. But who doesn't personalize better than Disney? Okay, Apple, but Disney does. But so
Yeah,
I
they
They do a
both.
great
added
job. Yeah.
to what I'd spent $150 on wristbands.
I think the light bulb that I just had in what Alex is saying is they use personalization as a marketing and sales
Yes.
strategy.
Yes.
It wasn't just a fun thing to do afterwards because to make the experience more something that then might help you refer someone. It was actually how you outsold the other watches. And then the other thought I realized when you were talking was I always think that the fundamental product, the watch, has to be able to be, when I think personalization, it never would have maybe on this team it would have occurred to me, but I don't know if it would occur to me to go outside the this part and go to the
Hmm.
band and all that. So, home builders, I hope your wheels are really, really turning because, of course, we're talking when we think personalization, our mind goes to design studio, the product. But maybe there's something on the edge of the product, like the watch band, that also could be personalized. That we don't have to talk about being able to move a wall or do things we don't want to get into. I don't
Right.
know. I just,
Yeah.
Angela,
You
I
hit
can
a
see it.
Have
I can see
fun.
your gears.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think we think of personalization almost after the sale sometimes in that sense, right?
mm,
Whereas personalization, how can we personalize the
Yes.
Yes.
experience right from initial interest through
right,
to
right.
Yep.
It's
And
closing?
not just the product, it's the journey as
Yeah.
Yes.
well. And you're looking for that kind of the apex of that. And Meredith, you hit a good point. It was core to our strategy, starting from you could go online, pick a retail store, book an appointment time, come in, get greeted by a specialist, get walked to the table, you signal what you're interested in, and then I mean, it was like soup to nuts. That
Yep.
was the experience. So, and it was incredibly engaging, and did the trick.
So for
I,
everybody that did it, that of our note takers today, because we like the nuggets, is personalization is a strategy. Like how you drove people to the watch, how, Disney did what they did, and so the personalization, the strategy of what is your buyer's journey and your buyer's experience is really where do you sit down? Do you have that as a strategy?
Yeah.
I,
I like that
I
versus
just
a
got
touch
that into
point.
the chat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have so much upside. And I would think personalization to talk about on this topic. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I mean, think about all the things that the decisions they do get to make. In fact, we don't want to overwhelm them. I mean, this could get, almost too many because there
Yeah.
are a lot of great choices you get to make if you're doing a pre-sale, if you're depending on where you pick up a quick move in, you might get to make some choices even then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think,
How do you, Alex, if we take personalization and start it and move it down the road? It's kind of its own topic, but I think it's so
yeah.
huge right now. How do you attach personalization to follow up? Like,
Following up with your buyer.
yeah, just
Yeah, I
generally
think,
speaking, Apple, how do they follow
yeah.
up personally? All of it.
So there's a couple, I mean, there's I think there's some easy applicability, and this is probably being done by a number of builders already. One is that human to human engagement. So if you had an interaction with a store specialist, right, or someone at the Genius Bar or someone of that sort, right, the ability to get a direct communication from them after the fact, after you've had your appointment, left the store, is really powerful. One other thing that we did, it was simply on our drip campaign post-purchase, since we knew what product you purchased, right, we could customize what that journey was in terms of tips and tricks. When I would get home, I'd open up my email, welcome to your new iPhone or welcome to your new Apple Watch. And, a few weeks later, I would get something else about maybe some new accessories that we have and so on and so forth. And then some training we have in the store, right? Even non-sales related marketing communication. And so that's a very straightforward way that you can do something post-sale for
And
sure, which I think is a great
that's
point, Kerry.
I think that's invaluable, Alex, that if even if this is what we stayed on for people that say, I want tangible hands-on help, what from Builder Town Hall today can I go have my
Yeah.
team do tomorrow? And when you realize things like so many people shop online right now what they do is you put something in your cart or you look at something and then they say, other people have also looked at, other people have also
Yeah.
bought,
Works
and
all the time.
all the time, everybody wants to do what everybody else is doing. So
Yeah.
it's like, hell yeah, I want that too.
Yeah.
And then,
Mhm.
yeah, I'll put that in my cart, right, Ange?
Well, yeah, and I just, you've raised a good point as far as follow up. I love that, the same person follows up with the prospect or
Yes.
the buyer after they have had their appointment. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
but because we're establishing trust, we're establishing a connection. But
Right.
again, it goes back to sales and marketing. This is your time to kind of walk through what are all of those touch points from interest through to appointment and post appointment.
Hmm.
What does that look like? And how are you giving them useful information to
Right.
continue
Right.
relatable content goes back to Meredith, what
Yeah.
you're saying. Audition your content.
Yeah.
Is it still serving its purpose and
And the
effect?
right
And
person is key, right? Go ahead, Mary.
oh, I was going to say that just yesterday I did a uh, touch point pipeline review with someone
Okay.
who works for a semi-custom builder. So definitely not production, but not full custom. So lots of personalization opportunities. And so
Yep.
what we were brainstorming is that your pipeline has lengthened considerably
Yeah.
because of what I was talking about at the beginning about the freeze. And I don't know how long the freeze is going to last with the election, and they've already been a little so and then so this pipeline has lengthened, and I said, so we need more touch points. I'm like, tell me all your touch points because she's saying I can only keep calling so many times. It
Mm.
gets ridiculous. I'm like, well, then let's add in some different channels, some different types. I'm like,
Perfect.
and so we did a pipeline review, and it was like both of us just went, "Oh yeah, we know about this. We used to do this."
Yeah.
After we got done brainstorming.
Yeah.
But I think
Well,
that's what
To that.
a tangible thing you could take out of today is a pipeline review.
For sure. And you know what? What goes into that pipeline, to your point, is that what I tell people, it's all about what you know about the person is in direct correlation to how long you can follow up with them. If you know very little,
Mm,
then you can follow up very
mm.
little. If you know, can you celebrate a birthday? Can you celebrate an anniversary? Did you meet someone and the kids are going back to school? Did you ask how the first day of school went? Direct correlation is in what you know is how long you can follow up. And to your point, Alex, as a strategy personalization, is that how they moved you through the room, through the store, so
Right.
that they knew, so
Right.
that they could get back to you on the add-on. Like, we talked about an iPad, but in the purchase, the iPad wasn't there.
Right.
You know, just, yeah.
And we
Yeah.
talked about the store experience being one component, and we've talked about the post-purchase, right? And Meredith, you're commenting on the pipeline. The one secret that we learned is you can't just list out the journey, right? You have to design it. You've got to design that optimal journey. So if there's something really
Mm.
tangible that a sales and marketing team could go get in a room for half a day and open up a tool like Miro or Fig Jam, right? And map out what that buyer's journey was. I mean, we had that dialed in. So how what that was going to look like from start to finish is really important. And I say design because people think or often think that design is how something looks.
Hmm.
That's not true. Design is how something works. And so
Oh,
by designing the journey, you as a team will define how does this journey work for my customer? And what does that look like along the way? What are those emotional highs and lows, right? And where can we get tripped up? And how can we personalize that to our target audience and so forth? And that was really the masterclass that I got from being there for so long and seeing, working on so many different teams, is seeing how that all got constructed and put together.
well, Alex, that's so true.
Yeah.
I remember, now when we look at sometimes going into what worked and going in your archive, I remember one time sitting down with the builder and figuring out from like their last 12 sales, where did you lose the buyer emotionally? Because everybody loses their buyer sometime because it's
Ooh.
building, right? And then if you traditionally lost your buyer at 45 days or 30 days or after purchase before dig or before design, every builder figured out where they lost them and we inserted an embedded touch point, which meant someone did something or reached out to them. So yes, that is 100% true.
Mm.
I
Love
would,
it.
on that note, Kerry, I would recommend if anybody wants to go back into your CRM and look at an opportunity or deal that you lost
Mhm.
and look
Ooh.
at those touch points and look at that journey from their initial interest through to knowing that the deal was lost. And what you can often, I will almost guarantee that you will
Yes.
see at what point they fell off and learn from that and look at how you can do things differently.
You learn more from the one that got away than the one that you got.
Hmm. Hmm.
Absolutely.
I'm putting this tip into chat, and I want to get it right. You said go into the CRM, look for a sale that was lost, examine the buyer journey, and look for what was the term you used, or you'll
Just
see if you examine the journey, you'll see.
you'll see where the buyer started to disengage, and
Got it.
it's not about pointing fingers at
Right.
someone
Know who
doing
done it.
something wrong. That is not, in fact, take the salesperson, take the sales team, take that all out, because everybody has had these situations. But you just look at them and look at what was communicated, what the content was, what that journey, how
Yeah.
what it was and what happened. And I will guarantee you will be able to see communication tone sometimes
Hmm.
changes. Maybe there was no communication, maybe there was a huge gap, and you've got to go, hey, we've got to add some more steps and meaningful steps into this process.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
when you look at your CRM, which again, when I said how much you know about someone is how long you can work with them, how well your notes are taken and put into your CRM also equals how long you can. And if you want to do a evaluation, you go into a salesperson's notes, and all of a sudden you see like where there's this really big gap. And then you see that they went in and picked in their automated emails in their library that they then said, it's been a while since we've talked. just wondering how you're doing. If it's been a while, what were you doing during that while?
Mhm,
So it's pretty transparent if you do exactly
mhm.
what you're saying.
Great
Okay,
comment
Alex,
from
let's
Steve.
jump. You
Yeah. Oh,
because
okay.
I
Go
really
ahead.
like another thing, so I have to
I know.
jump because
Yeah,
I
jump to the
can see
next
them.
topic.
Yeah.
Okay, jobs to be done.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm going to start, and then you're going to go with this is kind of what I deal with sometimes is it's not my job. Like, was it estimating? Was it construction? Was it sales? And my point is, if it's not your job, then it's no one's job because it's probably not going to get done. So it's everyone's job, right? To figure that out. So let's talk about jobs to be done.
Well,
Alex
I
is
think
like,
I mean I could build off of that, but
well,
Yeah.
I
go
think
on what you want.
yeah, it well relates back to the journey that the journey that we are just talking about. And Angela, I'm curious your thoughts here because this is like for many buyers, probably the vast majority, right? That journey starts on your website, right? That's your front door. And so that's where jobs to be done in this entire theory can really start to play a role in your marketing. And because it's a really powerful concept. Now, I'm not going to go like into this deep dive because Meredith, didn't you have Bob Moesta on a few months ago,
We
right?
did.
We
Bob
did.
Mesta. Yep, we did. That was
Yeah.
an incredible conversation.
Yeah, I got to rewatch it because
Yeah.
it's a really powerful concept that you can use as a marketing and sales team as well, right? Because it shifts the focus from what the product purely does to the job that your customer is hiring you to do, right? And in tech, we called it like speeds and feeds. And I see a lot of builders get caught up in this where it's like feature lists, it's specs, and it creates this like sense of what I call like cognitive overload for a buyer because you're like you're doing this massive comparison game and you've got to translate what you're putting on the site into like is that what I'm trying to solve for? Is that what I actually need? And jobs to be done can really be a unique way to um, tap into the emotional, functional, and social reasons that drive purchasing decisions, right? Because we all like, as we all know, people don't buy on people are rational, and so they buy on emotion, and so like you got to tap into that. So Angela, I'm sure like especially with website development and home pages, like this idea has probably played out, I would imagine, right?
Absolutely. And I know we've talked on town hall too about the story brand method and just drawing that emotional connection. I mean, that's what you're really trying to do, right? And they are you what job, I think we focus on the product and really it's that emotional, it's an emotional connection. What problem are we trying to solve is we're providing the product as a home, but what will they, the obvious, I know it's obvious, they will sleep in it, they will live in it, but are we showcasing that? And are we really telling that story?
Right, right. And a
But
good example
but
is like
oh, go ahead. No,
oh, I was
sorry.
saying a good example that comes to mind of that, and no, I'll throw it over. It's like let's take a deck, right? 20 by 30 deck, right? That's on the back of the house. This could be it could be an option, and people will put 20 by 30 deck, right? Here's what it's made of, boom, 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 right? Versus leading with a headline of the perfect place to host your friends, right? There's a time and place for the specs, but putting yourself in the shoes of your buyer and what they're like actually like they're not buying a deck, they're buying that future weekend experience on a Saturday afternoon when they're barbecuing or grilling, and you have to tap into that, and that requires work, that requires understanding your buyers better than anyone else. And I think Apple, I would say, did that better than most. And so I would encourage you to think about that, and how you could change up some of that messaging.
Lifestyle, right, Alex? When you're not selling the lifestyle and how your life will be better when you use whatever it is. I
Right.
like to tell salespeople when someone comes in your model today, you are the solution to what today? Not like go out next year today. Because if you can solve something, a part of something today, you
Mhm.
are probably going to have that person come back to you.
Yeah.
Meredith, it
It's,
goes back to a video that you shared. I mean, I think this is goes back to when Builder Town Hall started, and it was a builder in Raleigh, and I can't recall who it was. And it was a salesperson who showcased did a video of an empty basement, and it was a
Oh, with her, I
boring.
think she had her kids in it.
She did.
Yes,
And it was
yes.
this little
Yes.
girl turned this basement into her make-believe haven.
Oh,
And it was a dance studio, a playhouse. I mean, it was it drew you in, and there was nothing in the basement. But what you saw was this little girl dancing and playing make
oh, I
believe,
love that.
and it drew you in, and it was aspirational. And
yeah.
I think sometimes we get caught up in that,
You
just it.
remember
I
everything.
know, don't I but I can't remember what happened
Are you
yesterday.
taking Prevagen? No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. I see it on cable all the time. No, but
You,
I think that if we kind of bring this back to the concept of jobs to be done, and where I think this was initially going is in the digital experience on a website, in an app, uh, on a landing page, a social media ad, there are certain tasks, jobs that a person is trying to do to get the information that they're wanting to get about solving the pain point, the problem, the
Mhm.
what they want, and this trying to have this function and emotion to all happen at the same time. Do you have
Yeah.
any examples of kind of how Apple did that in the jobs to be done, you
Yeah.
know?
There's a couple on, I think there's a few on iPhone when it comes to the camera, for example, and you see this year in and year out, right?
Okay. All right.
There's some beautiful specs. You can talk, and a lot of other brands, smartphone, are like, oh, it's all about the number of megapixels. I don't even know the difference between what 48 megapixels versus 32 versus 64 is really going to get me in terms of my picture, right? Most people don't. But the idea of being able to capture your memories, right, in high fidelity or in more detail than ever before, that's what I'm trying to solve for. That's the problem, right? I'm hiring this phone
Mhm.
as my camera to capture these family memories, not for all these list of cool tech specs. Well, time and place for that, of course, but that's a good example. Same with watch, right? It wasn't just a smartwatch. Like, look at this display, look at this band, look at all this cool technology in here. We would talk about rather than like some of these watches have LTE, so you can effectively, I don't need my phone, right? I can take calls and so on and have internet connection while I go out, rather than saying, hey, built-in LTE, right? We would use the jobs to be done. But you know what? People just want to stay connected while they're on the go. That's what we're solving for. They want to make sure
The
that's why they would
emotion.
buy LTE. So it's really like you're taking one step before that feature and unpacking that, it's something that marketing teams
Ooh.
can easily tap into with some word changes and rally your content around it.
Yeah. You're inspiring some really good chat.
yeah.
Steve is on fire in
I'm
our
just
chat.
about to tell him thank you. So
Yeah.
ladies, you're all
Yeah.
data. When we went back through sales training 101, and it was like someone doesn't go to the drugstore to buy aspirin. They go to not have a headache anymore, right?
Yes. Same
Someone
here.
doesn't go to Dairy Queen because they need an ice cream cone. They go to Dairy Queen because they crave dessert or whatever. And so the job, figuring out what the job to be done by all the people, let's take this through the journey of the whole thing, like the designer, the estimator, the everybody, like my job today to better serve our customers is dot, dot, dot. Yeah. I all of a sudden when you were saying all that, I thought, God, I remember when I was told they're not going to buy aspirin, Kerry. They're going because they don't want a headache.
Right. And
So,
builders have this built-in audience of people that have purchased with them in the past that you can do qualitative research. I mean, that's how we informed future product development at Apple. We would talk to people that used our products all the time, and you can conduct that to understand those core motivations behind why people choose to buy a home or choose to buy a product. That's something you can do today. It doesn't require
Do you
crazy
like focus
expensive
groups?
surveys and stuff.
Alex, do you like focus groups? Hosting
Focus
focus.
groups also work. You just have to be careful about groupthink because people
Yeah,
build
yep.
on
Nope,
one
I
another.
gotcha.
Yeah, but it can definitely be a useful tactic for sure.
and
Wow.
this really takes us into, and we only have a couple minutes. Do we want to try to do storytelling, or we'll leave it for another time? Because we are kind of talking about storytelling, Alex.
Yeah, it's a nice dovetail, right? Right
Okay.
into this idea of storytelling, and you know how powerful that can be. And so I am kind of curious before I jump in, like what role do you think that's played for builders? Is there anyone that jumps out? You know, like Garmin Homes is a good example, and
Yep.
Capital Homes in Oklahoma. There's a few builders that come to my mind, or Epcon Communities, for example.
Mm,
There's a
55
number of
plus
builders out there
for
that
sure.
really do a nice job with their storytelling.
Well, I
mm,
think that we can all agree, and then we can talk about the story part of it is that, I mean, I did this on a sales rally how many years ago, but the sale is in the story. It really is.
mm.
Whatever story someone has that brought them out or brought them looking or brought them thinking, whatever that particular thing was, that is where the sale is. It's in finding out that
Mhm.
story, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
So we're not
Yeah.
really talking about always telling a story. We're talking about finding out someone, or if we're going to talk strategy, someone's, multiple people's stories that takes you to a strategy, right? So go with
yeah,
that.
yeah. So I'll give you a little inside baseball because it's not widely known. But you can look this up on YouTube. There was this video series that we did for Watch specifically and others, but Watch it really clicked. It's called Dear Apple. It's on YouTube and other places. It's a really incredible video series because we're on the product team. We would have people from all over the world write us letters and emails into Tim Cook, and he would forward that on to our department that talked about how Apple Watch changed their life or in many cases saved their life from a car crash or a fall while they're out in the wilderness, so on and so forth. And the amazing stories because of like the some of the health tech and other technology that we had in it. And so we captured those stories on video and turned it into this beautiful piece of content. It's a couple minutes long, and just told stories about our users and our customers and how the device was really changing their life. And that can went it wasn't an advertisement, right? It didn't require us talking about the product. Our customers did it for us, and I think builders have the same opportunity to do that as well. But I would highly recommend everyone checking out that piece to give an idea of what that's like. And it was
Oh,
really
yeah.
just emotionally powerful and one of the coolest things I think we did.
It makes you really kind of not question, but rethink testimonials as we
Mm.
as we see on sites.
Oh,
And
Yeah,
they're, some builders do better than others, and some have more, some have less. And I know it's hard to get them, but it really makes you think about the strategy behind what goes into a testimonial and how you present the
Yeah.
testimonial.
And
right.
you know what? I think that because they're so valuable testimonials, again, when we go back to meeting them at their moment, a testimonial is not a statement about the company or the salesperson after closing. That's what people think testimonials are. Testimonials happen during the process. And when someone is on site with a buyer, or say they're in the design center and some customers looked at each other and said, "This is so much fun. I'm just loving doing that." Bingo, testimonial. Say, "Can we use that? We love that." So it's me, it's in the moment, it's not after the sale.
yeah. Well, as we wrap up our hour-long conversation that
Oh,
has gone like that with Alex today. We want to make sure everybody that you do check out hiarc.com and learn more about their company. That they do provide an amazing personalization tool, and among other things that it does, but it's something that builders are using to differentiate themselves. So definitely check it out. And we appreciate Alex you giving your time
Thank
and
you.
energy to us and
Of
information to us
course.
today.
It's fun to be
Uh,
here.
Thank you. Our next town hall is going to come up pretty quick because we're going to go back to our first Friday this month. We couldn't do first Friday because of Labor Day, but we'll be back on our normal first Friday, October 4th. October 4th. We're going to be talking about refresh and renew your realtor marketing. I have a NAR settlement expert who's going to join us. He's going to shed some light and thoughts on that and try to clear up as clear as mud can be. And then also some other builder folks sharing what they're doing to really maximize their realtor marketing and what has the NAR settlement impact had on that, if any. I still need a guest for that. So if you're a builder and you would be willing to share some of your realtor marketing strategy on Town Hall, we would welcome you. So private message me. Okay. Thank you. Carrie, you are on
Hi.
fire today. All the nuggets, all the brain cells were going crazy. Angela, thank you for being your beautiful, smiling, warm
Oh,
self as you always are. And Alex, thank you. We just appreciate all of your information and experience. It's fun to hear from out of the industry. You're in the industry now, but from your
great.
time
Yeah.
Yep.
then, that was
Great.
awesome.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me. I
All
really
right.
appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right. We'll see everybody on October 4th. And by then, it will be fall. See you then.
See you then.
Bye, guys.